It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the best show that you'll ever know. It's the Dep Lewis Show, and it's episode 64. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is January 28th, 2024, the final podcast episode of January 2024. Can you believe it? So welcome to the show today where we talk about video games and much more. That's what we're here to do, and it is going to be a great one. You know, I wouldn't tell you if it was going to be bad anyway, so welcome to the show. Hope you've been having a great week out there since we last talked. Hopefully you've been playing some video games, buying some video games, doing a whole bunch of other fun things, and just living your best life, as Little Duval would say. So if you can help me out with this show, even more than just listening right now, please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review, turn on notifications, tell a friend, email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. Clips of the show are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. And then the ultimate place to follow is Patreon.com/DepLewisShow for a second weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. And more about this at the end, so you don't want to miss that. So you got to listen to this whole podcast, get all the great information, and then the teaser at the end is the information on the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show on Patreon.com/DepLewisShow. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to all that promotional things. And we are going to get into it. So this show has 3 sections every week. The first section is what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you. So let's see here. I have 3 of those games to talk to you about, and also some hardware to talk to you about too in the first section. The second section of the show is the mid section. So I talk about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape. So video game news, releases, things like that. So I have a lot of games. There's actually been a lot of releases, so I want to highlight the releases that have come out, talk about those, and then talk about some other news around the video game world in the midsection. And then the final section of this show today, the Miscellaneous Talk section, we're going to get in. So that's the section of the show where I can talk about anything I want to outside of video games. And for that today, we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports. So that is the plan for the show today. And let's get into it. So the video games. Actually, I want to say one thing. So usually at the beginning of this show, I like to remind myself to try to provide the best audio experience I can. So watch my ands and ums and my you-knows. And I am going to officially retire telling myself that. I'm going to think about it in my mind. I'm not going to say it out loud anymore on this podcast because that should be a given. I should be trying to work towards this every week, and that is my plan. So I'm going to quit saying that. And the other thing, it's not a note from last show, but a thing I want to bring up. So it's just a random fact of the week kind of thing. So I'm reading Defiant by Brandon Sanderson right now. I'm around 80 pages in. So I've had a few days of getting some progress this week. And so that's my current book I'm reading right now and trying to finish. And there was a word that came up in this book that I wanted to bring up on the podcast so we could all get smarter together. And that word is portent, Portent. Portent. And the way it was used was I couldn't help feeling it was another sign, a portent. It almost sounds important, but the definition of this is a sign or warning that something, especially something momentous or calamitous. So momentous makes it sound definitely positive, and calamitous makes it definitely sound bad, but that could just be from playing Zelda. So especially something momentous or calamitous is likely to happen. Similar, it's an omen, a sign, an indication, a warning. So I guess it can be used for a positive or a negative, but a portent, I couldn't help feeling it was another sign of portent. So hopefully a portent today is going to be for a really great show. It's a random fact of the week. I just wanted to look that up, and I included it in this section because why not? Portent, a new word for me to try to know what it means. All right, so let's get into the video games. So I've been playing some video games this week. So what have I been playing? I'd like to say right now, the main game I'm playing on my PlayStation 5 is Final Fantasy VII Remake. And there is a new one of these games. The second part of it comes out in February, at the end of February. And it would be a wonderful world if I could complete this before then. But that is a topic for another day. I'm just trying to make some progress on this. I'm titling this my PlayStation 5 game for the moment. I'm really trying to dial back what I'm playing. So have, one game, one story game on PlayStation, one story game on Switch, and really try to finish that before moving on to the next one. So that is my plan for right now. And I picked up Final Fantasy VII Remake again. I've had a couple stints with this game. So I'm still, I started a new file with this most recent playthrough, and I am not quite past things I've seen before. So I think I'm a couple hours away from getting into new content, but I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm having a lot of fun jumping back into this game. I've been on a little bit of a find and seek, see if I'm a RPG fan, and I think I really am, and I'm getting into some of these. And so I'm going to see if I can keep making progress here. So it's a little bit of a pipe dream that I can finish this before Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on February 29th, 2024. But that is my kind of plan. So I'm into playing this game right now. Cloud and Tifa are my two favorite characters. I think Tifa's really cool. I'm around three or 4 hours in. Yeah, I'm not quite to the place I've seen before, but I'm getting close. And I'm playing on easy classic mode. So I don't think I've done this before, but I'm really enjoying this. It's making the combat something I really, really like going into. So I think I made the right choice for myself in this playthrough. So I'm playing on easy, as I usually do with most games. And then classic mode is a little more traditional combat, and it assists you a little more. So if you're not doing anything, it might block for you. It might start swinging, but then you can control all the things yourself as well. So it's like a little bit of a handhold, but it allows you the flexibility to not feel overwhelmed in the battle. So a lot of times you're just waiting for your attack gauge to build up by doing some manual attacks, and then once it gets to a point, you can unleash some spells or abilities. So I usually hit them with some fire, and that's been really fun to do. And then I'm rolling around with Tifa right now, so it's been really fun. I think that's the all-star combo right now, me and Tifa. And the other characters in this game are cool, like Barrett, and it's really fun. I'm just liking the controls. I'm liking the music. I'm liking the environments. I'm liking the chatter from the people. I'm liking the random side missions popping up. I'm loving the music. That's one of my favorite things in this game. And then I really like playing as Cloud. So this game's hitting a lot of high notes for me right now. I'm really enjoying it. I've been playing it as a podcast game since I've learned in the last few episodes that any video game can be a podcast game. And this game, you can, I gotta quit saying the you-knows, but this game, you have the subtitles on. It just lends it. It's fine to play with a podcast in the background, and it's fine to play by itself. So I'm doing a little bit of both, and I'm playing the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't really have too much history with Final Fantasy. I've played maybe 5 of them over my lifetime. I've never completed one, so a little bit like the Legend of Zelda. Well, it's not really, because Legend of Zelda, I think I've played every one, but never completed any. But I do have a lot of good memories of playing Final Fantasy over the years. And this one, it would be really cool to be able to complete one, just like Zelda. So I'm going to try to do so. This game's a little bit out of my recent hour count games. I've been trying to tackle smaller games, and this one's a little bit longer. But even with Spider-Man 2, I put in over 30 hours with that and completed it. And I think the estimates for this game are possibly around 30 or 40 hours if you don't do a whole lot of the side stuff. So it seems feasible to me. And with my one in, one out mentality, it should, allow me to see if I'm even making progress. And if I stop making progress, I can switch to another game. I just don't. This is the main thing I want to be trying out right now on my PlayStation. So playing some Final Fantasy VII Remake and enjoying it a whole lot. All right, so I've been talking about the one in, one out. So, what I'm currently playing on my Nintendo Switch is Super Mario RPG. I haven't made any progress on this game in the last week, so I haven't picked up my Switch. I've been mainly playing PS5 because I have some really good games going right there. And the next one I want to tell you about is something else I'm playing, but Super Mario RPG, just want to have a placeholder here and say it's my current Switch game. My next Switch game in sight that I want to definitely play is Princess Peach Showtime, which comes out March 22nd, 2024. So that's a little bit of my deadline to finish Super Mario RPG, but I think I'm actually just maybe a couple hours away from completing it anyway. So I need to knock this out at some point. I'm on the 6th star out of 7, and I do love this game. I just haven't picked it up, but wanted to mention that I'm trying to finish that still, and that is still a goal for early in 2024 going on. So I've been playing a lot of PS5, and a new game that I've picked up. So I'm playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. And a new game I picked up is NBA 2K24. I'm back is what I wrote. So I really do buy this game every year. The amount I play it varies from year to year, and I've been on a lull of not playing some NBA 2K in a little while to any serious effect. But I have decided that I need a really good podcast game in my life, and this is the ultimate podcast game because the sound in this game is fine, but you don't have to listen to it. This is a great game for listening to music or playing a podcast. It's a game where you can build your skills and get better at it, so it's something I am trying to do right now and trying to get back into the groove of NBA 2K. So I would usually call myself pretty good at these games. I have a fighter's chance at beating somebody, feel decently well, but this game has been, humbling me a little bit. Since I haven't played it in a while, I'm not as up to snuff on all the changes that have happened and the new ways to play this, so I've been doing some tutorial stuff and just playing the computer on varying levels of difficulty, doing some practice, and I think I've been improving it in the couple days I've been playing this. So I wrote down this game is hard, or I haven't been keeping up with 2K a lot lately, so I think it's a little combination of both. I don't know if it's hard, but it's definitely giving you all the options. It's a basketball simulation, so I think it's simulating the basketball to a very realistic manner. So I've been doing the tutorials, and what I've learned from doing the tutorials in my early play in this game is the right stick is key to shooting and dribbling. So I'm having to learn this the most. I'm an old school NBA 2K player and NBA Live player where I like just using the button to shoot. But, this is not the first time the right stick's been highlighted, but I don't think I've ever been forced to use it so much or seen the difference in how useful it is. So I really do like the dribbling on there. That reminds me of playing, I think my favorite NBA game of all time is NBA Live 2003. And that had where you can control all your dribbles on the right stick. That was one of my favorite things. And now it is like that. So you can still do this as long as you're pressing lightly on the right stick. It's basically doing your dribble moves. And then if you hold it down longer, it'll go into your player's shot. So I think that's been really helping me already. And I've been beating the computer. I started, whatever the main normal difficulty is, I bumped it up. I was getting kind of thwomped, getting beat. So I bumped it down to the normal difficulty, and I've been doing a whole lot better on that. So I think I'm getting my bearings back on the NBA 2K, and I'm thankful for that. So my plan is to play some online matches of this after I feel like I can get into that now, but I've been doing some seasons. I'm playing a season as the Atlanta Hawks, which are my favorite team, and I started a season as the Indiana Pacers just for another team to start playing with because I really like Halliburton. And some of the other players on the Pacers are fun to play with, like Miles Turner. They have Buddy Hield. And there's a few other guys on there that were fun to play, but mainly some Halliburton. And I actually lost my first game as the Pacers, but I want to have a couple teams in my arsenal that I can play for and be familiar with the players for when I go online or when I get to battle friend of the show, Merk. And Merk was talking a little bit of NBA 2K trash in the last few weeks, so I decided to pick this game up. And I wanted to, the phrase is I wanted to stay ready so I don't have to get ready if I ever have a Merc challenge coming up and could possibly play him online or in person at some point. And I think that would be a fun thing to do. So getting back into the 2K, adding a semi-multiplayer game back into my life, and something I can hopefully improve my skills on and get back to some NBA 2K dominance so I can be the NBA 2K king amongst my friends. So I won't be a false king like friend of the show Merc likes to be for a lot of things. But let's see what else is going on with this game. I like the NBA Lite mode for starting a season and doing a franchise. So I started one with the Hawks and the Pacers. NBA Lite mode is just basically the most minimal way to start a season with a franchise. So I'm really appreciative of that. I might end up doing it with a few teams just so I can have a season going and I can practice with the teams that I want to use online. So that's my plan. So right now I've identified the Hawks, the Hornets, and the Pacers. Mainly been focusing on the Hawks and the Pacers. I need to find probably a couple other teams in there that I like to use. It's nice to have maybe 4 teams you want to pick from, 4 or 5 that you feel comfortable with. And then it's also fun when you play someone like if I played Merc just to hold the arrow down and just pick a random team and then play with that. So that's fun to do online too, and it forces you to play to get good with all the teams and the different styles and different players and really makes you a better 2K player. So it's fun to have. A lot of games these days I like to play the easy versions. I'm just playing story. I'm looking up guides. So I think it's good to add something back into the mix that has some difficulty and ability to get better at it. I think that's a good thing just to have in general. And NBA 2K is filling that need for me right now. So what else? I need to start playing some people online, so that's one of my goals. I think that'll be a really fun thing to do. And NBA 2K is a constant throughout the year, so I think it's going to be a fun thing to have to kind of get back to my roots here. NBA, basketball games have been one of my favorite games in video games for the whole course of my life, so I don't need to forget about them, and I need to bring them back, and it's very fun, and that's what I'm doing. So I've tried a few fantasy drafts. That used to be something I liked doing when I was younger. A whole lot. I would make a fantasy team and play through the whole season with them and make trades and do things like that. I don't know if I can do this anymore. I don't know if it's the too many choices. I think that messes with me sometimes in my older life, having too many choices. Though some people will call it the paralysis by over-analysis. But I think it's the case for this fantasy draft. I think I just want to redo it, trying to get the perfect team before even playing. And then I get a team and start not liking them and then go redo it again. So I think it's been more fun to play the actual teams because that gives me a baseline on what I'm doing, and then just try to have the variety amongst the teams. Like I don't want to just play one team the whole time. And that's a little bit what the fantasy draft provides. You can have different players and try them out and mix them together. But I think for me, I just need to try just try to get good with the different teams and learn the teams that are already out there instead of trying to create all these teams, fantasy teams out there, which can be difficult to do. So I'm just trying to play some basketball and have some fun. And there's older players and historical stuff in this game, and it's all very good. I know that's been in the game for a while, but it's cool to be able to go back and look at old teams, and they have it broken down in the modern era, the LeBron era, the Kobe era, the Jordan era, and then the Magic and Bird era. So you can go click any of those eras, and it has a team for every team in the league, and you can go back and have some nostalgia. I was back playing some Joe Johnson and Josh Smith on the Hawks, and just looking at those old teams is really fun, and it's really cool. I was playing as Tracy McGrady on the Magic. That was one of my favorite players growing up, and just really cool. And you can do a fantasy season with all those things. You can go back and play it. My greatest fantasy team of all time was Jason Kidd. Excuse me, I made a Jason Kidd fantasy team on the Nets in NBA Live 2003, and it was amazing. And that was one of the seasons. I played multiple seasons of that. It was probably my most played NBA game of all time, and just glad to be back into the NBA. So NBA 2K24, it's back on the docket. You're probably going to be hearing about it a lot on the Dep Lewis Show in this What I've Been Playing section, but I'm just going to keep you up to date with the happenings in the 2K, how I'm doing, what teams I'm playing with, if I've got to challenge the great Merc, and I'll keep you updated on all those things as I always do. So those have been the video games I've been playing this week, and I want to tell you about something else. So I've actually got a new piece of hardware this week. I did some GameStop trading about a week ago, and I've come out of that trade with a PS5 Slim. So I can now talk about the PS5 Slim. I wanted to get a PlayStation with a disc drive, and the Slim is enticing because it's about 30% smaller, and that's enticing as well because the normal PlayStation is a beast. It's really, really giant. So there's I wouldn't say it's a real big need to upgrade if you just have the basic one, but I traded in 2 consoles. I was able to get this and have some funds left over. So I'm an Xbox-less gamer right now, and my plan is to possibly pick up a Series S on the next time that a Xbox exclusive comes out, or the next new Forza or something like that. Pick up an Xbox Series S, but I think I'm going to roll with PlayStation as my main console for right now. And I think it's also helpful to myself, possibly just to have one console. I can't play all the games in the world. I want to complete fewer games, so that's a little bit of my strategy right here at this as well. And I like getting new hardware and new things, so it's been fun having this, and it's been fun to be able to look for sales on video game discs outside the PlayStation Store. So that was how I got this new PlayStation 5. I got a copy of 2K, and I got a copy of Octopath Traveler 2. So putting Octopath Traveler 2 just in my backlog, which is really nice and something I'm looking forward to playing at some point. And I'm going to be able to, it's just going to be fun. I'm going to be able to look out for physical sales. I know that's kind of a dying thing these days, but it's going to give me something to do. If I want to go check a video game store, I can go pick up a game. You can pick up PlayStation 4 games for this thing. So just going to take advantage of that a little bit as I can and use it as like a cool hobby thing. But the PlayStation 5 Slim is really, it is really neat. It's smaller. It has the disc drive on this one, so I got one with the disc drive, so that's nice too. And it has a little bit of a bigger hard drive, and those are really the main perks of it. So I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've been playing NBA 24 on it, and just really trying to map out the year for what I'm going to be playing. So let's see. I have this sitting horizontally. I put the feet on it, the two stands, so I have it sitting horizontally. If you want to have it standing vertically, you have to buy a stand for it now, or it's recommended that you buy a stand, which is sold separately. It's $29.99, so I don't know if I'm going to pick it up. I like the way it's sitting horizontally, and it feels secure enough, and I'm not like cramped for space back there, since it's the only console I have hooked up right now, and I'm really trying to focus in on playing some PlayStation. And I got NBA, and I still have some money left over. Yeah, so I still do have some funds left over on my trade-in to go towards another game. So I think GameStop, I don't ever really love having to go into GameStop and do some trades and bring things in and see what they got and go through the whole song and dance. But the people at this store were really nice, and I left with what I wanted. And I got 2 games I've been wanting to play, and I still have some funds left over. So pretty great trade for me. But I am Xbox-less at the moment, so if there's an exclusive, I might be scrambling to get something. But I think just getting a Series S will fit any of my Xbox needs, because that was something else I decided. I think the only 2 Xbox games I've completed in the last 6 years possibly were Red Dead Redemption 2, which you can play that on PlayStation, and then Halo Infinite. So Red Dead 2 was in 2018. I think I played it in 2019. And then Halo Infinite was 2020, and I'm pretty sure I beat that when it came out. And then the Forza games. So Forza games every other year, pretty much. So I don't know if we're going to get a new Forza game this year. So I'm thinking it's a decent time not to have a console right now, and it won't be messing with me too much. So I have a new PS5 Slim. I'm going to be telling you about how that is, over the course of the year, and just my thoughts on it. But it seems very similar to the regular PlayStation, but I'm enjoying it a whole lot and very glad to have it as part of my video game collection. So that's what I've been playing this week. I've been playing some Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm still looking to finish Super Mario RPG on Switch. That's a placeholder just to let you know what I'm playing there. I'm playing NBA 2K24, and I think you're going to be hearing a lot about NBA 2K on this show going forward. Then I told you about my new PS5 Slim that I got that I'm very happy with. And sitting here looking at it now and being like, oh man, what a cool piece of hardware. So that wraps up what I've been playing this week. I'm going to take a quick break. You're going to hear some lovely break music, and then we're going to come back for the midsection of this show, where I talk about everything I've been seeing across the video game world, across the video game landscape, and tell you about some new releases and some video game news and things like that. So you don't want to miss it. So go take a quick break and come back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 64, after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 64. This is the midsection where I tell you about what I've been seeing across the video game landscape in the last week. So all the cool releases and news and exciting video game tidbits that I want to tell you about. So strap in. There's a whole bunch of good stuff for you this week. The first thing I want to talk about is a very successful game that is released called Palworld. And this is, if you've been hearing in the news at all, this is the game being compared to Pokemon. So pocket monsters, and this is a world full of pals. And that's what these creatures are known as in this game, called pals. So Palworld is an action-adventure, survival, and monster taming game hybrid created and published by Japanese developer Pocket Pair. This game is set in an open world populated with animal-like creatures known as pals. This initially released on January 19th, 2024. It's out on Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, Microsoft Windows, and it's an early access game. So we believe that so this is what they've said about it being an early access game. We believe that to create an exciting and completely new game, it is very important to keep fine-tuning it based on feedback from our players. Palworld is a monster-catching survival and crafting game, but incorporates a variety of mechanics from other genres in order to provide a completely new experience for everyone. In order to collect feedback on these elements and grow the game into one that everyone can enjoy, we believe that feedback from everyone in the community is necessary. Therefore, we have decided to release Palworld into early access. So $29.99 US dollars is the standard price on Steam. This game is also on Game Pass, so the inclusion of this on Game Pass, I think, has definitely contributed to the success of this. And the numbers on this game have been going through the roof, and they've been making boatloads of money selling this game. So they have sold, and I think these numbers are going up, and we're going to be getting more numbers as the days go on. But these are estimates at least, and and seem accurate. So it's pretty insane. They sold over 8 million copies of this game in less than 6 days. And apparently these are Steam sales only. So this translates closely to $200 million. And I think that's what Jeff Keighley was on there talking about, trying to put that number out there. I think it was like 189 or something. And he was saying 7 million, but it's a lot of units being sold. So, and that's just over 6 days of its release. So January 23rd, Palworld posted 1,864,421 peak concurrent players on Steam. And this is the second best of all the games that are on Steam. So it's only second now to PUBG, which had, one day its peak concurrent players on Steam was over 3 million, 3,257,248 players. So the number two game right now is Palworld, which has been out just for a few days. So pretty monumental start to this. And everyone's calling it Pokemon with guns. And even the Pokemon company has had to come out making a statement, because everyone in the world is talking about Pokemon company is going to sue their pants off. But Pokemon company's official statement, all they've said so far is, we intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. So this game is not something I'm immediately interested in, but it's basically a game that you can't avoid and news you can't avoid hearing about, because it's been a huge deal and a huge success. And I definitely thought about playing it, but I watched Jeff Gerstmann play a little bit of it, and I think that's about all the footage I've seen of it. It's a survival game. It's Pokemon. So, it has creatures out in the world you can catch, and then the base of it is a survival game. So I'm not generally a survival game fan, but it's a very popular genre nowadays, especially with, I guess, younger crowds of video gamers too. It definitely taps into that market in a huge way, and something that I feel like younger gamers are gravitating towards. So it's just not something I've ever really been into, and it really hasn't tripped my trigger, trying any of them out. But so I don't really have an enticement to try that out. And then I do like Pokemon. I feel like some of the recent Pokemon games are they're unambitious, and they don't even run well on the console, which is sad. I would probably be buying the last Pokemon Scarlet and Violet if it didn't have technical issues. Even if the game was deemed boring, I would probably buy it if it ran well, just because I do like Pokemon, and it would be a fun game to catch the Pokemon and see what's up, and it's relaxing and all those kind of things. But Palworld is really setting the gaming world on fire. A lot of people are playing this, it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see the staying power, I guess, and see if there are any legal matters, legal actions. I think people are saying a lot of the models for some of the pals are very similar to Pokemon, but I don't know. And some of the menus even looking like having your roster of these animals, but I don't know. I don't know anything about the legal matters of this. I just know that's a conversation on the internet right now. But either way, Palworld is having a lot of success, so I wanted to talk about it on here on the Dep Lewis Show in some form or fashion. So out right now, if you want to go play it, go watch some footage of it. It's definitely been one of the top games streaming on Twitch. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there talking about it, so it's really hard to miss the Palworld discussion. So wanted to bring that up here on the show as well. All right, so let's get into some more video games. So there have been some releases here in January, and some very recent ones. So I want to talk about these. I've mentioned most of these on the show already, but I just want to mention that they're out again, or mention that they're officially out, and just tell you some more little facts about them, and just make sure you know what's going on in the video game world. So right now, Tekken 8 has released. It is out now as of January 26, 2024. It's out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and Microsoft Windows. This is developed by Bandai Namco Studios and Arica. It's $69.99 US for the standard version, and they are touting aggressive new gameplay, an iconic character roster, and dynamic environments. So I watched Kinda Funny play this. I watched Jeff Gerstmann play this. I don't know if Nextlander played it, but I've been watching some content out there on Tekken 8. It is looking really good. There's around 30 characters in the game. I've seen some comparisons to Soul Calibur, which I think are accurate and I think are a good thing. And the environments will look cool. The main thing to me, the characters will look cool. I don't know if the online play has been working flawlessly. When I was watching Jeff play, he was having some trouble with the online disconnecting, and he was having that across PlayStation, or he was playing mainly on PC, but then he tried it on PlayStation, was having kind of the same issues online. And I was watching Kind of Funny, and they were playing, I'm not sure what they were playing on, but then some of these people were also mentioning that the colors look different. So Jeff was saying that the PC version was looking a good bit better than the PS5 version, that it was looking a little more muted. And then Kind of Funny was messing with their TV settings. So I don't know if there's something going on with the coloring in this game, but I think it looks really cool. It's all mainly very kind of dark screens and darker colors and darker hues, but it's very, very cool looking, and I'm interested in this. I think this is the first game, not the first game, but this has been the biggest one. I've been trying to hold off on buying games a little bit since I generally don't complete them, but this has been the one that I've been having my finger on the trigger closest to for picking up some Tekken 8, because I do like fighting games. I haven't had one that's clicked for a while, and I think this one could really have some good potential for me liking it. So Tekken 8 could be something I pick up. There isn't really anything I'm looking a definite purchase for me until March with that new Princess Peach game. So I have a little bit of some free time here, or free playing in my mind to kind of pick whatever I want, but we will see. Tekken 8 is looking really cool. And I want to probably watch some more and see if people continue to play this, because it could be a thing where people play it and think it's nice, but it doesn't really have lasting power. And I kind of want to see if people are really touting it as something they want to keep playing, and it's going to be supported and be more of a big deal than just a kind of quick release. So that's kind of, I guess, a little bit what I'm holding out for on the Tekken 8. But that game is out right now. All right, another game that's out right now, and something I'm definitely interested in, is Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. And that game is out right now as of January 25th, I believe it was, 2024. It's out on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. This is a role-playing game developed by Ryu Ga Gotoku. Ryu, I think they call it GG Studio, but Ryu Ga Gotoku Studio, and published by Sega. This is a direct sequel to Yakuza Like a Dragon, and the spin-off title Like a Dragon, The Man Who Erased His Name, which came out early 2023, I believe it was. So they're saying in this game, you can live it up in Japan and explore all that Hawaii has to offer in an adventure so big it spans the Pacific, and unforgettable moments await at every step of the journey with a unique mix of quests and activities to enjoy at your leisure. So this game is the great Ichiban is the protagonist in this game. And this is something that has been reviewing very well. I feel like this has been a very strong 9 out of 10. I think a lot of people are saying it's better than Yakuza Like a Dragon, but I've also heard people saying that you should probably play some of the prior games first to playing this, so you can get a lot of the story beats. I don't know how required that is. I was just listening to Jeff Gerstmann's podcast from last week, right before I recorded this podcast, and he was talking about, oh man, I just lost my train of thought. He was talking about that he was talking about in Mass Effect, like when Mass Effect 3 is being released, BioWare is trying to sell you, or I guess it was BioWare at that point, trying to sell you that, hey, you can jump into this game right now, because they don't want to cannibalize their sales. They don't want to say, hey, you need to go play the first one first, because then you're probably not going to, and then you're probably not going to buy the game. So there's an argument to be made. I think he was making it, and I'm agreeing with it, that most of these new games, you can really jump in and play them unless you just are really, really caring about the story and wanted to know all the context and everything going on in the world. So I think that was a cool discussion that he was bringing up, and something I need to think about more myself, because I like to try games. I don't always know if I should go back from the beginning, or if it's okay to start on a new release. And a lot of times I do look out for opinions saying if people think you should play the prior one first, and maybe I should quit doing that. And if you just want to play the new game, go play it. And there's plenty of other means to catch up on what's happened. And I don't know, life's too short is probably the ultimate lesson on any of these things in life. So go ahead and play the new one. But I think that was an interesting topic he brought up, and something I was thinking about this game, and I've been going back and forth on myself. So I would like to play this game, and maybe I'm talking myself into it right now on the show. So we will see. That's what podcasts are good for. That's what I like about them. You get a lot of different perspectives out there in the world. And Jeff Gerstmann, thinking about podcast stuff. I was thinking about, he's probably my favorite podcaster. Definitely the first one I've listened to, and just really appreciative that he is still doing it. All right, but talking about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth release, this is... I've only heard good things about this game. I watched Nextlander play this. They had a great video of them playing this. It was Vinny and Alex playing some of this. And Alex File, he's a big fan of this, but they were all wanting to play this. This game seems very wacky. It seems very all over the place. It seems very random. It doesn't seem like it has you doing one thing for a long time, but the city looks cool and the characters look cool, and I kind of think I want to play this, and I think I've talked myself into it live here on the show, but we will see. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is out right now, looking very cool, and looks like it's probably most people right now's favorite game of the year, I would say. I think Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is up there as well. This new Tekken 8, but I think this Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is getting a lot of people going really crazy, and just wanted to tell you that it's out and it looks very cool. And come back to the Dep Lewis Show in the future. You might hear me talking about it as well. So let's talk about some more releases. So something else that's come out since we've last talked is Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy. So that has been released and it's out now as of January 25th, 2024 on Nintendo Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and Microsoft Windows. It is an adventure puzzle game developed by Capcom. It is $49.99 US, and they're telling you Apollo Justice's legal journey begins anew. So join rookie attorney Apollo Justice and his mentor, the legendary Phoenix Wright, in this collection of 3 games. This title features the 14 episodes of Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney Dual Destinies, and Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice, and the 2 previously DLC-only special episodes for a total of 16 episodes. What a value in one package. Immerse yourself in this collection as you shout objection in these newly renovated halls of justice. So I haven't really heard anything about this since its release, and I haven't really played any of these games before. I own one of these trilogies on the Switch already, but I bought it on a sale at some point and never really got into it. But I think the art style of this game looks really cool and the characters look cool, and I like the idea of having a courtroom battle. It's just a different kind of thing, and it definitely seems like something I'd want to try at some point. And looks like a cool franchise from afar. You know, I've never really tried it out, but everything I've seen from this looks pretty cool and interesting, and hopefully this is a good release. I think I've heard Haley from MinMax was talking about this, and she was talking about how, since she's a video game lawyer, and she's been getting a lot of people talking about her Palworld comments, but she was bringing up at this game that it's funny how, not like disrespectful these people are in this game, but they talk a lot more out of turn and out of pocket than people do in a real courtroom. So she was laughing about that and kind of liking it, I think, from this game too. So it seems like this game has a lot of personality and is very fun. So Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy is out right now. Okay, so those have been the releases that you can go play right now if you're listening in real time. But there have been some other video games being floated. Well, this one's out now too. So I have one more I want to tell you about that's a official release. And this is a game I don't know too much about, but I looked up some information for this show and I like the art style. And it's called Howl, Howl. So Howl has got its console release, and there was a console release trailer out that you can go watch right now if you want to see some about it. But Howl is available now on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S alongside Nintendo Switch and PC, which it came out for previously. It looks like this game is $14.99 US, so not a full price game, which is always nice to have as an option. It's a turn-based tactical strategy game. Players take control of a deaf prophetess. I've never heard of a prophetess, but hopefully I'm saying that right, who must survive in a world that has been ravaged by a plague of turning humans into monsters. Set in medieval times, players will fight their way through a dark fantasy world fitted with a living ink art style with new skills to unlock and improve. So the art style definitely has a little bit of Okami vibes, especially thinking of that living ink, and then it also looks a little bit like Pentiment with some of like the medieval kind of styling. So definitely has a cool look to it. I don't know if it's something that I would be into playing, but it is a reasonably priced game, and it's available right now if you want to go play it. So Howl, Howl. I feel like that's a hard word to say by its lonesome. Howl. But it's out now on consoles, and go check it out. All right, so the official second best game of the year for 2022 for the Dep Lewis Show is Vampire Survivors, and the emergency meeting DLC is out for Nintendo Switch right now. So that is the new update I want to tell you about and let you know that it's out right now. And they're saying about this, have you ever wanted to slay hordes of enemies as the horse from Among Us? Now you can. So this is the Among Us themed crossover DLC. It's filled with crewmates and imposters and adds a big map set on the scientific base of Polis Replica with 9 new characters, 15 new weapons, 1 new adventure, 6 new music tracks, 20 in-game only achievements, and space ducks. And they say obviously, so the space ducks better be very obvious in this game. And also the main game on Switch is getting update version 1.8 Adventures today, which brings self-contained mini side quests called Adventures that offer remixed content from the main game and lore. So just amazing. I'm a little bit, what's the word? I was looking on Nintendo.com, like where you can save your wish list. I was looking to see if you can find the DLC and how much it is, and it wasn't coming up in the store there. But I haven't gone to my console to look for this yet, but apparently this is out now. It's been out on the Xbox for a bit and PC, and it's apparently out now on Switch. But I was doing a quick look before the show and not immediately seeing it, so I'm sending some mixed signals here, but it's something I was still looking into myself. But go check it out. Any addition to Vampire Survivors is a positive thing. All the additions are very inexpensive. I was seeing that the Tides of the Foscari and the Moonspell DLCs packs were both on sale, so I think they were $1.79 a piece right now on the Switch. So I can't recommend Vampire Survivors enough. I think I can even recommend the mobile version. A friend of the show, Pab, has still been playing that and really enjoying it. So Vampire Survivors is a lot of people's a game that a lot of people like, including me. So some new DLC for it is out right now on the Switch, which I think is the main place that I am playing Vampire Survivors nowadays. All right, so let's keep this news train rolling. So we're going to stay with the Nintendo stuff and talk about the number one best game of 2022 for the Dep Lewis Show, and that is Splatoon 3. And there has been it's been the long talked about, the side order DLC, and we finally got a release date for this now. So there has been a release date reveal. The side order DLC launches for Nintendo Switch on February 22nd, 2024. So this was announced with a trailer. It seems to be a colorless Matrix version of Splatoon 2's Inkopolis Square Hub area. It's story content that continues to be shrouded in mystery and asks players to take control of Agent 8 once again. So they're saying alongside a drone who claims to be off-the-hook member Pearl, Agent 8 must fight off waves of enemies in a floor after floor of challenges on their way to the top of the spire and learn its secrets. Use color chips to boost your abilities in this experience that's designed to be replayed over and over. So this seems like this is going to be the year of the roguelite addition to video games. We've already seen this now with God of War. We've seen it with The Last of Us. And now it seems like that's what this is doing here with Splatoon 3. It almost seems like a roguelike version of this game where you're going up these floors of challenges. It gets more difficult as you get to the top, and you probably get some upgrades as you go along that you can permanently use. And I don't know if I'm going to play this. This game won Game of the Year for me just based on the multiplayer alone. I've really only maybe given the single player an hour of my time, and that is no indication on if it's good or not. I really just didn't give it a chance, but I just fell in love with the multiplayer. So this is more, single player content. It's not immediately something I would be excited for, but the art style of it definitely looked cool. The initial reveal trailer made it look very enticing, and I don't know. This will be something I want to see how it's executed and what people are saying about it, and get some more information myself before deciding if I want to jump into it or not. But I love Splatoon 3. The single player thing is a whole nother side of this that I need to try probably at some point, because I probably would like it a whole lot, and I could be missing out. So I've been thinking about that a little bit more recently too, for something to try on my Switch. But I do have a current game going right now, so I'm trying to stick to that. But Splatoon 3 side order DLC will be out on February 22nd, 2024. So that is the big news update for that. All right, so let's keep going with this Nintendo talk. Now, I want to remind you about, I've mentioned this game a few times on the show already, but Princess Peach Showtime is one of the next, I think it's the next guaranteed day one purchase for me right now of the year. And that releases on March 22nd, 2024 for $59.99 on Nintendo Switch. And this game wants you to help Peach save the Sparkle Theater from the Wicked Grape and the Sour Bunch, who have set the stage for the ultimate tragedy. So joined by Stella, the theater's guardian, Peach is ready to save the day, power up with transformations, and use show-stopping abilities to call curtains on this tragedy. What transformations are hiding just behind the curtain, ? So that's something that they've been teasing out there right currently with the transformations that Peach will go through. It reminds me, like I said before, a little bit of Kirby or Mario Odyssey, where you're getting new abilities or powers that change, how you're interacting with the environment. So they've already let us know some of the transformations Peach is currently going to go through. There's probably some mysterious ones out there as well that we still haven't known, but they've been telling some of that information out there. So you can definitely go look up some Princess Peach Showtime information if you want to know going into it. But the other bit of information that's been released for this game, that there's going to be some Princess Peach Joy-Cons being released. So in celebration of Princess Peach Showtime, Nintendo recently announced that they're releasing a set of pastel pink Joy-Cons that will be available alongside the game on March 22nd. So pre-orders are officially open at retailers like Amazon and Best Buy right now for these for $79.99. They're really nice looking left and right pink pastel Joy-Cons. So if you want to add some new Joy-Cons to your collection and play some Princess Peach, you can do so on March 22nd of 2024. Okay, so let's see. So we've been talking about the Switch, but there's also been some news about the Nintendo 3DS, and the Wii U. Nintendo has announced that the online platform is ending. So at 4 p.m. Pacific Time on April 8th, 2024, online play and other functionality that uses online communication will end for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U software. This also includes online cooperative play, internet rankings, and data distribution. So please note that if an event occurs, I thought this is an interesting statement in here. So they're saying this is going to happen in April, but they say, please note that if an event occurs that would make it difficult to continue online services for Nintendo 3DS and Wii U software, we may have to discontinue services earlier than planned. So I guess that means that if there's any type of fire or anything that goes wrong with the online in these games, right from now on, they're not going to fix it. They're not going to spend any time trying to reconcile it. They're just going to end it. So I don't know what games or anything have like a high online presence or the highest online presence for those games, but I'm not playing any of them currently, but I'm sure there are some people out there playing this are going to be sad about this, as always, because these are just, how times go, though. They shut these things down, but definitely is kind of an end of an era thing, and that can bring on some sadness for some people. But they say they sincerely thank players for using the online services of Nintendo 3DS and Wii U software over a long period of time and apologize for any inconvenience. But they shut down the stores on those platforms a while back, or at least on 3DS, and now the online play is going to be shut down as well. So, goodbye to the online services for Nintendo 3DS and Wii U in April and possibly before. So the last bit of Nintendo stuff I want to talk about this week there's been a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 rumors going on, and there's been a new one that's popped up this week. So all the current rumors we have out there it's coming out later in the year, possibly September. It's possibly going to be $400, and games are going to cost $69.99. But the new bit of information that's come out is that the Nintendo Switch 2 is rumored to have an 8-inch screen. So that is the newest rumor. That would be a bigger screen than any of the previous models. The Switch OLED right now has a 7-inch screen. The original Switch has a 6.2-inch LCD screen, and the Switch Lite has a 5.5-inch screen. So going to be getting a bigger screen. I don't know if the form factor of the overall console is going to get bigger, or if it's just going to be slightly bigger by an inch. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to bring the Joy-Cons back, or if they're going to have attached controls on each side. I don't really know, but it definitely seems like the Switch 2 is coming this year. I've been reading all these rumors and keeping you updated on them on this show, so I can try to best myself on when this is going to come out. But it does just seem like it's going to be a souped up version of the current Switch, and I think that's what I'm kind of hoping for myself. So it appears all the rumors are stating that as well. So all these rumors are tracking pretty well for me, and just want to keep you updated about them here on the Dep Lewis Show. Okay, so 2 more things to talk about on this mid-section about video game news. Halo Infinite has a new teaser trailer for Set a Fire in Your Heart. They're telling you to take a look at the latest teaser trailer for Halo Infinite that puts the UNSC Spirits of Fires emblem front and center and fading into burning embers. And players can expect more information on January 3rd, 2024. So just want to say there's some new Halo Infinite news coming. It's probably about the multiplayer season would be my guess, but you never really know. And they're teasing a drop of information. So that has me thinking it could be something kind of cool or substantial. So that's supposed to come out on January 30th. So that's just in a couple days. You're listening in real time. So I just want to make you aware of that. And if it ends up being something cool or worthwhile, I will definitely tell you about it here on next week or a future episode of the Dep Lewis Show. So, you want to listen every week so you don't miss the good video game information. All right, so the last bit of news from the prior week is definitely some sad news and something that's been a recent trend and happening a lot, but I want to bring it up on this show. Microsoft is laying off Activision/Blizzard employees. And so following the $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, Microsoft is cutting 1,900 staff from its video game workforce. So this continues the trend of major video game layoffs going on across the industry, and just layoffs going on across a lot of industries right now. So definitely seeing those across the world. And then on this video game focused show, there's been a lot of this news I've been reporting and talking about on this show recently. So Xbox boss Phil Spencer has said Microsoft will provide full support to those who are impacted during the transition, including severance benefits informed by local employment laws. So as always, hope these people land on their feet. Very sorry they've lost their job. And I think the main thing I like to say during these situations are the leaders of these companies need to plan better. I know there's ebbs and flows to the environment and all those kind of things, but I think if you have to put the onus on somebody, you put it on the leaders of this company, since they're the ones in charge ultimately. And it is poor planning, if anything else. They've tried to grow the business. Maybe some of those sectors weren't successful, or they didn't put the right resources into it, or whatever it may be. But either way, they weren't successful, and now they're cutting those people or trimming the fat, as they like to say, or consolidating. But I think it's just ultimately it's poor planning. You don't want to have to lay off 1,900 people. It's probably not how they intend going into these things, but there's got to be a give and take from trying to make all the money and trying to have the right size of your company. And some of these people need to consider this a little more, so you don't have to shock the world with massive layoffs and flipping these people's lives upside down. So sad day for these people, and it's not like these companies aren't making money. So it's just a little bit hard to fathom, a little bit hard to imagine, but it's happening all the time. So it is the reality, and you just need to be aware of it. I think is the only thing you can really control and do. So Microsoft laying off people, bad news. Sorry to all those people, and that is going to wrap up the midsection of this Dep Lewis Show, episode 64. So we talked about a lot in this section for the video game news for the prior week. So we talked about the releases of Palworld. We talked about Tekken 8 being out now. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is out right now. Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy is out right now. Howl is out right now. HOWL, I keep saying that word very strangely. Vampire Survivors Emergency Meeting DLC is out on Switch right now and other platforms as well. It's already been previously out on other platforms. Splatoon 3, we've got the Side Order DLC release date, which is February 22nd, 2024. We talked about the release of Princess Peach Showtime and the new Joy-Cons that are releasing alongside of that. We talked about the 3DS and Wii U online platforms are ending. We talked about the Switch 2 rumors, with the newest rumor being there's an 8-inch screen. We talked about the Halo Infinite Set a Fire in Your Heart teaser trailer, which has some new information coming January 30th that I'll keep you abreast on. And then we talked about the Microsoft laying off Activision Blizzard employees to end this section. So sorry to all those people involved. So that is going to wrap up the midsection of this Dep Lewis Show, episode 64. We're going to take a break. You're going to hear some lovely music once again. And then we're going to come back for the final section of this show, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So it's the Miscellaneous Talk section. And for this week, we're going to get into the worldwide world of sports. There's actually been some pretty decent updates with my official teams of the show, and that's what we're going to get into. So, go take a quick break, listen to this music, and come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 64, after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 64. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So we are going to get into the worldwide world of sports. We're going to talk about the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Carolina Panthers. They've been making some moves to hopefully improve the franchise as a whole. They've hired 2 key positions that they needed to fill, so we're going to talk about those for a bit. So Dan Morgan has been hired as the new general manager for the Carolina Panthers. And some information on him: he's played in the NFL. He played in the NFL for 7 seasons, and he played college football for the University of Miami. Most of his NFL career was in Carolina with the Panthers, so that's nice, and he ended with the Saints. So Dan Morgan made the Pro Bowl in 2004, and he is currently 45 years old. He's from Pennsylvania, and he's married with 3 kids. So on May 8th, so previously on May 8th, 2021, he was hired by the Panthers to be their assistant general manager, and before that, he was the director of player personnel in Buffalo starting May 2018. So those have been his last 2 positions. So I think the writings should have been on the wall here. I didn't really know he was the assistant general manager. I knew he was involved with the franchise in the front office kind of role in the last couple of years, but he was the assistant general manager. So it's not shocking, I guess, now to see that he has been given the full-time gig as the new general manager. So a whole lot on this guy's plate. Dan Morgan has a lot to achieve and work through to make the franchise successful, but all I can say is that I hope he does. So after hiring the new GM, the Panthers have also now hired the new head coach of the Carolina Panthers, and that is going to be Dave Canales, previously from Tampa Bay as their offensive coordinator. So Dave Canales, his resume, the main portions of his resume are he was the wide receivers coach for the Seattle Seahawks from 2010 to 2017. He won the Super Bowl with them in 2014 with the Broncos. Then he became the quarterbacks coach for the Seahawks from 2018 to 2019. Then he became the passing game coordinator for the Seahawks from 2020 to 2021. Then he became the quarterbacks coach for the Seahawks in 2022. And then most recently, he was the offensive coordinator for Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2023. So now he's getting his head coaching gig. People, the words I've been hearing on the street, they've talked about how he's helped Geno Smith be successful, how he's helped Baker Mayfield have some success last year. Lots of former players have been coming out in support of him, actually, which has been nice. He has a wife and 4 kids, and he's from California, and he's 42 years old. So these are the 2 guys now at the helm of the franchise of these 2 positions, and I don't know. I don't have much to say. I don't really have too high of hopes. I hope these guys can have success. I just really want to see it before I'm going to get hyped up for it. And I don't know. This guy, I think you could, I don't know. I think you could say bad things about these. I think you could say good things. I just think we want to see some improvement on the field of play. I think they've been making all sorts of changes and trying to sell us on these. And we're going to have to do this whole thing, song and dance again. And I don't know if it's the fault of these 2 gentlemen, but as a Panthers fan, it's going to be rough to be sold all the off season and hearing the interviews and hearing the training camp interviews and talking about all the hype and what their plans are and how they're going to execute it. I think it's all a little bit it's been overdone a little bit with the Panthers at this point. I think they just need to get in the building, and I really do hope I really do hope positivity and success for these guys, but I just don't know if I can go through the song and dance of the off season of tapping into every word that they're going to say and talking about all their plans of what they're going to do and how they're going to execute it. I think that's all a little bit silly at this point from a fan's perspective. But they've got 2 guys in their positions. I wish them all the best, and I am definitely going to be along for every step of the ride because they are the official NFL team of the Dep Lewis Show. So they have got a new general manager, a new head coach. So they should be in position right now to make some progress. So that is the plan, hopefully, for the Carolina Panthers. So general playoff updates. Today, for listening in real time, January 28th, we have the 2 championship games for the conferences. So the Lions versus the 49ers in the NFC Championship, and then the Chiefs versus the Ravens in the AFC Championship. Those games are at 3 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. So I'm definitely going to be watching those and very excited to see those. We only have 3 NFL games left for the remainder of the year. These 2, next week will be a bye, and then we'll have the Super Bowl coming up in 2 weeks. So pretty exciting stuff. I think the favorites are probably the Ravens and the Niners, and I think I am going for, I don't know if you're going to say the Ravens are the favorites over the Chiefs, but I guess those are the 2 number ones from each conference. But I'm not going to count the Chiefs out, and I think I'm going for the Lions overall. Well, I don't know. I think I'm going for the Ravens and the Lions, and maybe I expect the Chiefs to win, but I don't really know. But definitely going to be excited to watch the playoffs, watch the rest of the NFL season, and then really start looking forward to next year for the Carolina Panthers. But at least they've got their positions filled that they needed to. So that is all the updates from the NFL world. And then let's talk about a little bit of basketball. The official teams of the Dep Lewis Show would be the Atlanta Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. And the Charlotte Hornets have made a trade, which is it's just not a good sign because they're being sellers. They got rid of Terry Rozier. They shipped him off to Miami, which is, I'm sure he's probably happy about that for the team-wise and locale-wise. But they traded Kyle Lowry for Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick. So I don't know if the Hornets plan to keep Kyle Lowry, and I don't know if they've already released him or bought out his contract, but I think that's the plan. This deal basically was for a first-round pick, and they're possibly, I guess, taking on some of the money from Kyle Lowry here. We're going to be buying him out, but they have shipped Terry to a contender and acquired a first-round pick in the process and had to pay a little bit of money. So I think overall it's a pretty good deal for the Hornets. It's not a great deal for, current fans or people wanting to watch the Hornets this season. You're trading away one of your better players, and it's definitely like a selling kind of rebuild move. So not too exciting around Hornets land. And then the other official team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Hawks, not too exciting around there either. A lot of trade deadline speculation with them. Their team has really been underperforming. The trade deadline is coming up on Thursday, February 8th, 2024. And the Hawks had a recent loss to the Mavs at home, which was brutal. Luka put up 73 points against them. He could not be stopped, and that was it. And just really, really rough. There was not a lot of defense in that game as a whole, but Luka was definitely the best player on the floor and had 73 points against them. So just really tough times for the Hawks as well. But I'm gonna I'm gonna be watching the Hawks on Valentine's Day in Charlotte. So that's the next really big, exciting NBA thing for me. The Hawks are coming to Charlotte again for the second time this season, and I'm going to be in the building watching my two favorite teams battle it out for, I don't know, just for pride, I guess, and for myself, it's just going to be enjoyment seeing some of my favorite players. But really bad times for both of the official NBA teams of the Dep Lewis Show. But hey, what can you do? I'm used to it. Let's see. If I have 4 official teams, 3 of them are doing pretty poorly right now. And there's one that is the shining hope in my sports fandom right now, and that is the official baseball team and official Major League Baseball team of the Dep Lewis Show, the Atlanta Braves. So let's see. I just want to talk about a Max Fried extension. I really want them to get that done. I'm basically just going to say that every week until it's done or he's off the team. So please pay Max Fried his money. Pay him whatever, how many, $200 million, $300 million he wants. Maybe pay him $400 million and defer half of it. Go crazy. Pay Max Fried. I've already said last week I went on a rant about paying him, but I just want to say that again. Pay Max Fried, Atlanta Braves. But the only really news in the offseason with the Braves, I think they've really made the majority of their big time moves or newsworthy moves. But they made a trade this week with the Texas Rangers. They have acquired outfielder JP Martinez for minor league right-hander Tyler Owens. So a little bit of outfield insurance, which I don't think is a bad thing to have. I'm not too familiar with JP Martinez, but he is 27 years old. He batted .225 with 1 homer and 4 ribbies in 17 games with the Rangers last season. But overall last season, over the course of 82 games split between 3 different levels of minor league baseball, he hit .297, 14 homers, 60 RBIs, and 41 stolen bases. So those stats are a little bit more enticing and excitable as a Braves fan. And definitely with the stolen bases, that's nice. It's not something that all players are accustomed to doing, so it's nice to have those kind of guys on your squad. The Braves have Ronald Acuna Jr., so he's the best stolen base guy in the world right now. But adding someone else with some of those skills would be nice too. And that just makes me think he can come in and be a pinch bat. He can come in and be a pinch runner. He could play outfield one day if we need him to, and hopefully he can get the Braves bump. I think just joining the Braves, it's a winning organization. There's a whole lot of great players, possibly the greatest player in the world. In my opinion, he is the greatest player in the world, Ronald Acuna. So just being around those kind of guys is going to build up your own skills if you are a worthy player yourself, or if you have any smarts yourself. I think that's usually how it's going to go. So I wanted to talk about that trade, and that is going to wrap up the sports talk for today for the Dep Lewis Show. So that's going to wrap up the Miscellaneous Talk section. We talked about the Carolina Panthers. We talked about the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Atlanta Braves. And that is going to wrap up the entire show today. The show about video games and much more. Episode 64 is coming to a close. So I just want to reiterate my promotional stuff from the beginning so you can hopefully help the show out more than you do. already by just listening, but please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Like, subscribe, rate, comment, review. Turn on notifications, tell a friend. Email any questions or feedback to DepLewisShow@gmail.com. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Patreon, and more on my Buzzsprout page. So basically anywhere podcasts are available. Clips are on YouTube and TikTok. Twitch.tv/DepLewisShow is a great place to follow. And then Patreon.com/DepLewisShow is the ultimate place to follow. And I want to tell you about that right now. So $1 a month for the ground floor tier for the first 100 patrons only. With this tier, you will gain access to an additional weekly podcast exclusive to Patreon called the Dep Lewis Freestyle Show. This podcast releases midweek, and it's a great way to get additional content and support the show. Patreon also has ad-free versions of the Dep Lewis Shows off series plus more. After the first 100 patrons, the regular price for this tier will begin. Ground floor tier pricing will never change and will gain access to all Dep Lewis Show Patreon content always. So just thank you for the support. Thank you for listening to this show every week. Hope you got a lot of great video game information and news and releases and some other miscellaneous talk as well with that sports talk at the end. And just thank you for being a listener. I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. And please come back next week for another episode of the Dep Lewis Show, because that's where I will be. And just thank you for listening. And I will see you next week for another episode of Dep Lewis Show.